G'day, g'day. It is Wednesday, the 19th of August, 2026. How is everyone doing out there? How was yesterday's trading? Let's have a look at spot gold on the daily chart first. And yesterday, in context of reading candles, was very bearish in that we swept the previous day's high and closed quite strongly below the low of yesterday. So it's a very bearish day by itself. But when we switch on the drawings, and I apologize, it gets quite messy here. I've got to tighten up some of my little titles that I was putting on some of my zones. And we just start, if we look just at the bodies, once we've come up on this big run through last week and obviously this big move on Wednesday back on the 5th of August, where we look at the bodies, we're going sideways. So we're starting to get a little bit of a range going here, not unlike what happened here. So the range has got to find its top and it's got to find its bottom. And this was the previous week's high, coming down here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that's the previous week's low. So we can type that in now. Just so we can keep track of everything. Previous week's low, bottom right. Cool. So obviously we're still inside last week's range. We've swept the Monday's high and we're coming down. So on this candle alone, I expect this previous week's low to be targeted today. Doesn't mean it will be, but that's the sort of expectation. But we have swept here, but we've swept up here as well. So we'll wait and see. We've got the big round number of 4,500 as a target. And that's the sort of state of play as we look at the daily chart over sort of get a bit of sort of fundamental background of what's happening. So the 60-day Iran peace deal deadline has expired. Okay, so that's very big news. It's just reading here. So Iran hasn't folded at all. Okay, so Iran's top negotiator said the Straits of Hormuz stay closed until the US lifts its naval blockade, releases frozen assets, and removes all sanctions. And that's their hardline stance, and that's not their opener. Trump has posted many times that he's saying now that the Straits of Hormuz are a new US territory. It's a very provocative gesture. Iran's calling it delusion. And so there's no scheduled talks. So that is, after 60 days of a peace deal, that's the result of all of that. You've got one side giving their version of it, the other side giving their version of it. And if we look at probably just basic shipping data, you would still say that the Straits of Hormuz are closed. So that's obviously inflationary in terms of oil prices, and that trickles down to pretty much all other prices, and that puts a dampener on gold because it inclines that the September rate hike, which is supposed to be off the table now, might actually happen, and that will strengthen the US dollar. These things change almost nearly every day now, so they've just got to keep an eye on that. That's why I'm intraday trader. VIX yesterday. So VIX is moving up. So VIX is reacting to this. Oil's moving up. Oil's at 84. VIX is at 15.8. So there are some things to watch there. Now intraday, what did we see? Fairly lively Asian session yesterday, all around, centered around the point of control. We had a nice sort of sweep of the upper value line yesterday. So we've come into it, we've bounced off the upper value line, really nice trade up into the point of control and kept on pushing through there. So we've got to push straight through the point of control to the previous day's high. Big reaction on the Tokyo Open. and got a little bit further up. I got sort of stuck in a trade here above the previous day's high, as I was thinking, okay, we could be going to the previous week's high. We weren't. Nice Shanghai, Tokyo rejection of all of that. And we had a push back straight through the previous day's high, and then it ran all the way back down to the pivot. So that would have been a lovely trade. I didn't get it. Lovely continuation here with a sweep back into the 9 a.m. lows. We'd broken through it, came back up, retested it, 5-minute rejection inside candle, and back down to the pivot. So that was sort of like a, Stacey Burke style trade calls them a low hanging fruit. It's fairly simple, as that we had a beautiful target down here and sideways through London, pretty nasty sideways. 11:30, New York Stock Exchange opens, comes down, sweeps the lower value, sweeps all of this liquidity under here, only to trap everyone straight down as the move came down. Obviously, there's no brokered peace deal, talks are stalling, and as I mentioned, that is sort of negative and bearish for gold, and that has shown in a continued sell-off with basically a 2 move down. Where are we now? Okay, opened, we have gapped up a little. We are underneath the lower value. So this is bearish momentum at the moment. We have the previous day's low sitting down here. Definitely a target. See if we're in any hourly sort of range, which of course we normally are. So yeah, final closing hour, very bearish, just constant. Look at this. No highs tagged, even up here. So we've got untouched high. I'm talking about hourly highs here, untouched highs. So lots and lots of untouched highs. Really just retracing this move up on Friday. So we're coming all the way back down there. Gold does this nearly all the time. Just got to pick when it's going to happen and not get shaken out with something like this. They're terrible for that. But if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Okay. And making squillions. So let's just put a little box around that. It's our previous day's hourly range. So it's just an hourly range that we sort of don't really like to trade inside, but we do like to look for the edges to get swept. And we have potential for here because we are very bearish at the moment. So we have like a bounce off this lower value line. And we can see how value is changing, where this 50-cent value range, where it sort of started to expand a little bit, dropped down, dropped up, and now it's back down again. So we're starting to get that sort of choppy action happening through there. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I would definitely be a seller if I can get some sort of bounce off this lower value line. Do I want to be a buyer at the previous day's low? Not bad. I mean, we've got a lot, as I said, we've got a lot of liquidity probably building on these hourly highs. So we could trade back up into those. But I know, okay, stay aware, stay calm, and just trade your plan.